Around the world and across Nigeria, if you just joined us, this is still Enterprise Morning on Enterprise Television. And now to our main conversation for today. Then that's the big thing. It's all that's being awaited right now, and chances are that by the time you are watching this, Nigeria's leading labor unions may have already called off the nationwide strike.
This latest update follows a meeting on Monday at the instance of the Secretary to the Govt of the Federation involving the Tripartite Committee.
So let's now look at what went into making the portage for which the labor unions have decided to have a rethink about the nationwide strike.
Henry, let's see if it's savory enough. Yes, first is that the federal government will pay a national minimum wage that is higher than 60,000 naira. And two, the Tripartite Committee will meet every day for the next 1 week to arrive at an agreeable national minimum wage.
Very well said. And that's three is that the labor will convene a meeting of its organs immediately to consider the federal government's promise. And four, no worker will be victimized as a result of the industrial action. However, the strike has already shifted grounds from where it was on Monday. Where do this time exactly leave us? And still with us in the studios to do justice is Evans Ufeli. Where does this leave us?
Yes, where it leaves us is that the presidency or the federal government have agreed that definitely they are going to pay more than 60,000 naira, right? But the exact figure has not been determined. Okay, but they have signed an agreement that it will be above 60,000 naira. So over a passage of some weeks, they will now fix a possible figure, which should definitely be above 60,000 naira. That's the agreement reached so far. But labor should tread carefully, in as much as I also want the strike to be called off. Okay, like every other Nigerian, because now at least the national grid is resting for 24 hours now, right?
Yeah.
It has never rested apart from when it is it breaks down,
Yeah.
and all that. Now it is resting for the. But while the national grid is resting, Nigerians are having an unrest situation. So we are in an unrest situation right now. So there's a need for the strike to be called off. But you know, when the federal government says, okay, we'll pay definitely more than 60,000. Now we have agreed that in principle and in paper we have signed. But give us the next 6 weeks to now determine how much that figure will be. So, I mean, if Labour have agreed on that and they called off the strike, the federal government can come and say, okay, we're going to pay 61,000. You understand? That's what that's the implication. Because 61 will be more than 60,000. 62 will be more than 60,000. So, but Labour has pushed this very far. In fact, where Labour wanted it to be, it's not realistic. You understand? For minimum wage to be 400 and something thousand naira, I don't think Nigeria can pay that.
In fact, the federal government said it will cost them 9 trillion
to
be able to do that.
9 trillion to be able to do that. Okay. How we should we have a system of government that is prone to size, so that the huge sum that they are asking for, it will be possible to pay that. But even I know that even Labour knows that that may not be realistic in the scheme of things. Even though there are countries that pay more than that. Talk about Norway, talk about most countries in the Scandinavian actually pay more than that. But I don't think we are ripe enough, or that we have the capacity to undertake that and then face the inflation that will come after it. Okay, it's a good place to, at least the federal government have left what they proposed before, to the point that they will pay over 60 and all that. But I think Labour should also, they've signed already, but I feel that Labour should have been able to tell them that whatever it is that will be on top should not go beyond a certain percentage. That's what if I were to be in the room of negotiation, I will put that forth, so that the government will not use this to undermine Labour. Between yesterday and today, the country have lost so much. Okay, so if the federal government had done this, before the strike, there wouldn't have been a strike. That's what we say, because now it's because they should have managed it better than they're doing it. Labour should give it a human face, looking at our GDP, total national income, and the fact that the country will have to address infrastructure, will have to address so many things, unemployment and the rest of that. Also knowing that this set of persons constitute less than 1% of all of us. So that, okay, what will now be left for those who are not? Labour should have that as a thing. But I think it has been a good bargain to have total compliance in this.
Okay, thank you, Barrister Evans. But looking at the fact that we're saying our GDP and the current economic status of Nigeria, assuming we have the right leaders that are managers of our resources, is 400,000 too much to ask for?
It's not too much to ask for. 400 minimum wage. 400. When you say 400,000, it means that's the minimum. Yeah. That will be for the lowest cadre. Yeah. So the level you are determines.
Yes.
So what it will mean is that maybe a level 16 might be earning up to 2 million. That's what it will mean. Okay, which will also have a ripple effect on the economy, and that will also drive inflation in a way. It's not too much to pay someone that amount of money. But the federal government will now tell you that the president's salary is 2 million naira too, and all that. So I think what we should do is to have a uniform payment system for both the political leaders and the workers. Is that disparity that's the problem? Most times they are looking at the National Assembly and the cost states. They went and bought brand new cars for themselves of 100 and something million each. You know, when you begin to buy that, you're not telling Labour that there's no money. You're not saying the truth. Then you remove subsidy, you didn't plan for it. Then you did. This strike would have been on since so. But because you did a supplementary budget, it was a supplementary budget last year, now remember? Because by the time this government came, it was running on the budget of the previous. So there was a supplementary budget last year. That supplementary budget, in order to persuade Labour not to draw them into that strike at that time, they now gave them 38 or 48,000 naira each. You know, they're paying them extra 48 or thereabouts from that last year they put in there. So now it is not, your question is quite hard because it's not too much to ask for given where we are as a country. You understand? Most of the civil servants, they have children whom they've sent to school. And because the government did not prepare the ground well for employment, those students they sent to school with their hard-earned money, they are back home. They are still being fed. So they have come back home to start another childhood. So all those are trappings that will necessitate. That is why Labour will say, no matter what happens, pay us 400 and something thousand minimum wage. The reason is not far-fetched. That money is overstretched. Even in the Nigeria of today, that money is nothing. That money is nothing in the Nigeria of today. That's the truth. Between yesterday morning and this morning, I have spent over 2 million. Between yesterday morning and this morning. So it is not anything to go by, even if you want to look at it. That 400 is still managed because the economy is convoluted. There's nowhere to run to. You understand? You earn that money now, you spend it on children's school fees because there's no proper school that was created by the federal government. So you're going to spend everything on this. You take that money, you pay for electricity in a very high rate because the federal government have failed to fix electricity. Okay? You service your car every day because the federal government refused to fix the roads. You see how the money is depleted. So when it comes to your like breeze, it goes through you pay rent because the federal government have refused to build low-cost housing and a mortgage system. See the variables. So if you address infrastructure wholesomely, if people earn money, to be with them. You understand? If you arrange the secondary, primary school, universities, do it the way it should be. I don't have any business going to private school to go and pay huge sum of money, except by choice. But now I'm mandated because there are no, and it takes away money from me, and the university takes away money from me, and all that. An average private university in Nigeria, you will spend about $2 million school fees. Then you will now mobilize the child, feeding, books, and all other things. One child is taking, upon resumption, is taking about 4 million. One child. Then the parents are on 30,000 naira minimum wage. Can it work? It can't work.
So, all right, so let's look at this. The Minister of Information, Mohammed Idris Malagi, has come up to say that that the increment of minimum wage is not the only way out that the federal government can use to stabilize workers. It has stated that the student loan is one of those measures. Palliatives is one of those measures. Do you think that's sensitive enough?
The palliative was never given now. I mean, the palliatives that they were to give to 12 million Nigerians, the president turned around and gave it to governors. The governors, now let me give you a ratio of what happened. I visited my village. 8 bags of rice came to my village. Each bag had 240 cups on it. Each family got 3 cups. So that's the palliative that will sustain them from last year to this time around. There was no palliative. Now, come to the other one. The other one you mentioned is the student loan. How many of the students have accessed it?
60,000.
60,000 have been able to access that student loan. Now, this student that accessed the student loan, what's the repayment plan? Where's the job? Where's the job that they will use to source funds to pay back? You know, that student loan is just a national empowerment. You understand? A lot of people will be prosecuted. How many are you going to prosecute? Because they are not going to pay back. Because at the end of the day, they will tell you that you should provide the job that they're going to use to pay back. Are they going to do internet fraud to pay back? Or which job have you made? That's why I said this thing, that what they needed to do, just the way it is in the US, you apply for financial aid, not loan. Financial aid is given to you. Now, once you are done, you know you have an assurance you are going to get a job. Because you have a social security number, you can always be traced. You have records. You can always be traced. You cannot run away. In fact, in the US, when people are convicted, they go home. The day they are convicted from the court, they go to their house. You will choose a date yourself when you want to come and start your prison term.
Really?
Yes. But you are running nowhere actually. Anywhere you go to, your record is flashing. When you are driving in the US and police pull off, once they get to your back, what they do, they flash on your plate number. Your record shows up. Your name,
your history,
everything, your crime record, everything will show. So you are not running to anywhere. If you are convicted today, they have to go home, and when you are ready for serve your prison time, you come to the prison, you report to the prison straight and tell them that you are ready. So you go in. That's how it is done. So what I'm trying to say is that this thing where we don't even have data to start with, you don't need to give them student loan in that manner. People who need financial aid to apply for it, when they apply for it, you have it. When they're done with school and they start to work, they start to pay. I have a friend that did masters in the US. He paid only $700 from here. That's what he deposited. When he got there, started the master. After the first year, the second, he took financial aid, and he's out now. They sent him some messages. They are even sending him openings, vacancies, that he could take one and start working. And when he start to work, start to remit so percent, very small amount of money. That's how to empower citizens. If you ask citizens to put down the money they want to use to go to school immediately, now, at once, they will go to steal. That's why you have high rate of crime. In Lagos before now, they will ask you to go and bring 2 years rent to spend money you have not earned. Why will you not be stealing? In those civilized countries, when you want to rent a house, you pay for that month. The next month you pay. The other month you pay. Because you should not be spending money you have not earned. You must steal.
Very true. All right, so while we talk about that, let's digress for a bit. with every political or economic fracas happening right now with the Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration, there's always a way the social media foot soldiers of the APC have a way of dragging Peter Obi into it. Amongst all the parties in Nigeria, although the Labour Party has come up to say, Labour, shelve your sword and let's see if it's possible to do that. And I guess that was as a result of Peter Obi's intervention. Do you think that's a good political move from Peter Obi himself?
That each time there is problem, they drag Peter Obi into it.
Yes.
Yeah, because the truth
because
is
they're
that
actually saying that he's working in cahoot with Joe. Yes.
no, the truth is that Labour Party is an opposition. You understand? PDP is an opposition. Just that PDP, they are not playing that opposition role very well because they are not actually, they are completely disorganized. Otherwise, they came second in the election. Okay? PDP, LP, they are both opposition. So whatever Obi is saying is what he should do. In fact, if he has gone to bed after the election, we'll say that means this man didn't really actually mean to rule. But pointing out all the errors of this government at every point in time, and this government attacking back, is one of the ways democracy is sustained in any country. The reason APC did incalculable damage to this country before now was because the PDP opposition team there, Metu, you know, they brought out his own, they gave him at some point, you know, he was locked up with the Dasuki and the rest of them. You know, when APC got to power in 2015, you know, all the PDP toward the ones that really opposed, they were all, you know, they all had issues from EFCC to all this and all that, and they talking about how Jonathan was sending money to this to go and do that and all that. So they silenced the PDP. From that time till now, they have not recovered from that. Meanwhile, when PDP was in power, what Lai Mohammed did to PDP in terms of opposition, the propaganda, the everything, there was no policy that was okay, nothing. In fact, this fuel subsidy, Jonathan was the one who proposed the removal in 2012. And so many persons supported it. A lot of people, including this president, you know, opposed it. We went to Ojota to protest for days, yes. That Jonathan does not know what he's doing, he's clueless. He's even Tunde Bakari of the church, one of the religious house, you understand? They all mobilized against him. At that time, it would have been, you know, at least the economy had some balls. We had rebased our economy then, we're the biggest in Africa. We had overtaken South Africa. Our economy had, you know, but subsidy needed to go at that time because the fraud in it was huge. Remember Farouk Lawan and Otedola and at that time, people would bring spreadsheets and take it to DPR, from there to NNPC, to show them how many this of fuel they brought into the country. They didn't bring anything. And the federal government was paying. For years, the federal government was paying those subsidies. That was what informed that this thing should be taken up, was eating into the fabrics of our nation's solidarity. Let's take it up. That's where that was informed for. You saw all that opposition. That was what the same people who opposed it came and removed thoughtlessly, without even thinking about anything. We plan and how you will go from there. So now we are here to battle it.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Evans. Now, it's still morning and soon it will be the end of the day. Do you think the sitting that is going to hold today and everything will fall in place and definitely distract the problem?
Well, yesterday into today already, it looked like the bigger part of the whole struggle has been achieved. Because what Labour planned was to pressure the federal government to move away from, you know, the 40-something thousand they were talking about. Move away from there first. Now they've achieved that, but now we're at 60 plus. Okay? So we're closer home. That's what I think. So if Labour does not insist on that 400,000 plus, hopefully if the federal government now come to a term of what this above 60 should be, and it's okay by them, then I think the strike will be called off. There's no point being in strike when there's prospect that you can actually solve this problem. So whatever it is, we'll watch and see the developing story. But I think Labour have done well to get the federal government up to this stage.
Very true. They say no pain, no gain. But I would love to ask, how much of the pain are you receiving?
I'm receiving a lot already. But before we let you go, if you had to guess how much the federal government would actually settle for, if you want to speak the mind of the federal government, what will you say they would actually settle for?
I'll speak my own mind. I don't like this federal government. I think if I were to be in the federal government, I'll propose 100,000 for them. Yeah, that's quite okay.
It's fair.
Yes, 100,000. Given the situation we have seen so far, so that they will have that and we will have peace. We can now move on.
Very true. All right, so this is just about the time and the place we can. And we should drop our anchor for today. We'd love to say thank you to Pastor Evangelist Feli for being part of our show today. It was indeed a very rich discussion with you. We'd love to appreciate you also for that. And you've given us your time. We'd love to say thank you. Please do well to visit our website at www.enterprisetv.com. Comment and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. I am Henry, BBK. But just before we let you go, let us say that Enterprise TV has been to town to hear what's being said out there as the ongoing strike continues. Let's leave you with what we found out. Bye-bye.
Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.